Welcome to the Leader to Leader podcast. I'm your host, Susan Spears. Our guests today, oh my gosh, are so much awesomeness, and I'm so excited. I have two folks from Leadership Fredericksburg, Jaime Garza, LF24. He is the LF24 class president, owner of Ignite Cinemas. Jaime, welcome.
We here. LF24, most electrifying class. Thanks for having me here, Susan.
Oh, so much awesomeness. And also with us is David Fraser, LF24. He is he has been the graduation keynote speaker this year, and he's the owner of Fraser Wood Elements. David.
Thanks for having us, y'all. Looking forward to this. This is awesome.
Oh, it is so awesome. Thank you both for making time today and being here with me in the office and coming in, because what are we talking about today? We are talking about Leadership Fredericksburg. And one of the things that really brings, okay, you're both from the same class, you're super involved, so we have a lot of things we can talk about. I'm most excited to have you right now as we're in the time frame where we're going to be accepting applications for a new class. So it's a perfect time for us to be chatting about it and just really a year later sitting down with you and seeing, talking about your experience and why it matters to stay involved and just everything. You guys are just great. So I've got both of you here to talk, and you're both, by the way, anybody that's watching that doesn't know these two, local entrepreneurs in the Fredericksburg, Virginia region. Peace. I was super involved with the Chamber of Commerce. Yes. And in so many ways. And Leadership Fredericksburg was just the next evolution. I don't want to steal your thunder because you're probably going to say that in your journeys with the Chamber.
That exact thing, Susan.
So I'll just throw it out to you, and you can answer in whatever order you want to. Over a year ago when you were thinking about it, or in 2023 when you applied for the 2024 class, what got you involved in where you said, I need to go ahead and do this?
Jaime, go ahead.
Yeah, I started off like it was so hard I was interviewing so many professionals in our area, and it always came up in conversations like, hey, have you tried Leadership Fredericksburg? Or I'll have friends or colleagues I network with be like, hey, I'm doing Leadership Fredericksburg this year. And it was like one of those things like every year it got more intense. And then for me, being as plugged in as the chamber has been, I have been since 2018, it was always a goal to get through it. So finally I took off a lot of responsibilities. I was networking with like local networking, like BNI and things. I got rid of the excuses. And my wife pushed me. She was like, success leaves clues. You see all these leaders around you. Why haven't you been through it? I got tired of making excuses. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to show up. I'm going to show out. And when I sent that application in, I wanted to be the best version. And that's where I'm at right now. So walking testament at Leadership Fredericksburg, and
Still walking.
Still walking.
Well, still walking.
Would recommend the 5 stars, but that's what really drove me to finally dial it in.
Love it. Thank you. How about you, David?
So when I came in, I've had my business here in Fredericksburg. We planted our roots, my wife and I did, 10 years ago. And at that time, I was looking for answers, right? Like I'm searching, and I'm just like, what's my next step in my business, not myself? And so I was like, oh, I see these awesome people in the community doing this Leadership Fredericksburg. I wanted to be a better business owner and be a leader for my team, for the community. And I decided to reach out to that Leadership Fredericksburg program. And it was great. It was honestly one of the best things I've done in my life for myself. So
wow, that's super nice. One of the best things. That makes me feel good about what we do.
Little goosebumps.
Yeah. So from the beginning of the year, like when you guys first kicked off to the end, let's talk a little bit about that journey and some of the things that really stand out for you.
Wow, beginning of the year, I remember being at the Marriott, the Cortland Marriott, and it's just a room full of some people I knew, a lot of people I didn't know, and it felt like back in high school again, the first day. You feel me, David?
Yeah. I was like, hey guys,
But one thing I love though, I think we opened up immediately that day with the icebreakers and just getting to know each other as we were prompted, and even the connections at lunch. So going towards that, I feel like it was just a spark to the very end, because at the very end, I think it's safe to say to this day, we're still like bonded and rooted and supporting each other, and a lot of volunteerism I see in the community with the chamber. So talk to me, David.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's what's the great thing about the leadership Fredericksburg is that the vulnerability of yourself and your team is available. Like you open yourself, you start expressing whatever your life may be, and it's a great place to be as a person to know that you have this wonderful room of people that you can rely on, lean on, talk about your experiences, and it's a great place to be as a person, you know.
Dude, you just brought up, like, you remember during mid classes, we would have like therapy in class. It felt like,
yes,
like we would, like, when you talk about vulnerability, and then we learned also in LF that vulnerability is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know, we're business owners too, so a lot of things we learned from this class that we just kind of like, we're just migrating. But I know for me personally, I had those shifts because those things started to go into my family life and my family structure still to today. Even how I talk to my kids, how I talk to my wife, and those vulnerability, and just having communication and civility and all those fun things. Yeah. Wow. That's real.
Yeah, and I think that's what's great. Like, it brings it out. It can, no matter, you can try to sit back and just sit there. But I think no matter who you are, it's going to bring the person who you are or who you need to work on or who you need to be. And that's important in today's world, to know that, like, work on yourself is always necessary.
David, I remember, you both shared your stories with the class. And what was that like?
Oh, I let it out there. I did not know I was going to be that guy when I was able to present. And it was beautiful. And I enjoyed that. That's one of my highlights of looking back and just being able. I've never been on I'm gonna call it a stage, but an opportunity given to me to present my story, and that was so much fun. And I got into it, and I encourage anybody to either write their story down for themselves and either share it with themselves or to be comfortable and share it with friends. It's a great opportunity for you to look back in time and say, look how far I've come, So I encourage everybody to do that.
I remember that, RSC. Your story resonated with me even to this day. I remember, like, after you told your story before the gala last year, I was speaking to your wife, and I just gave her props because she's been a big part of your journey and your kids, man. Vulnerability at its finest, but it was relatable, David. And also, I was so grateful to share my leadership story because in the midst of it, when I was, like, writing and everything, for once in my life, I felt like I was a leader because I didn't need no titles or letters behind my name to make that so. So when I was going back, I never really thought I had a leadership story, but what that moment did, and it was like a ripple effect because others, like, wow, I relate to that in some aspects, and it gave me that confidence to still be on fire and just know I'm a leader. You can't avoid it once you know it, right?
Yeah. And that's what I was saying just earlier, like, write it down. You'll be amazed how far you've come if you just sit back and just focus on you and let yourself really understand that you have done a lot. And that's a great feeling, for you to sit back and look back. So I encourage anybody to do that.
Write it down.
Write it down.
You're a leader.
You're a leader.
I love it. And then that emotional component, because through telling your story, you start to, the things that really matter to you crystallize. And in all of our cases, that's when you really have to put into words and say out loud how much you love the people in your life, how meaningful some of those relationships really are. And sometimes, as we're in that journey, we just haven't said it out loud.
Right.
Said it out loud and with intention. And so I think that's the part that pulled out your emotion when you were actually saying that in class and just putting it, even though like your wife wasn't there to hear, it was like she was in the room with all of us. It was so cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Our most recent class, we did the exercise a little differently just because of the timing. It didn't roll into a a second class where people came back. They ended up giving the stories during the same day, just for your knowledge. But it was every bit as powerful.
Yeah.
There was a lot of emotion in the room and people just openly sharing some pretty significant stuff. And, one of the observations the faculty has when this happens is we don't do that on the first day.
Right.
We do it right there towards the end when you guys have been bonding and growing as a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the first time Dr. Flatter and Quarterman suggested adding storytelling, I think it was really Dr. Flatter who led that several years back with the program. I thought storytelling, right? And now is it not everything? How visionary are they?
Yeah, I mean,
those faculty.
I think it's important. I think, and I think again, I can't stress it enough. You have a story. You as a person has a great story to look at, and look forward to it.
Oh, my microphone's
look at that!
falling.
It just got excited.
That's a story within
you see
itself.
that?
Like everything's a story.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's great. I'm under control here, though. So as we fiddle with...
Shout out to stories.
Hang on,
In my line of business, stories sell. So I'm glad that everybody is telling their stories and understanding that we're all one of one. We're all unique. There'll never be... We might have the same characteristics as somebody, but we're meant and made one of one. So I feel like if anyone feels like they don't have a story, it's like David said, dive in deeper.
I mean, you just went into a couple songs for me there, and I don't know if I'm supposed to be
Break them
doing
down,
that.
break them down,
But that
Here we
first
go,
one was
Susan.
like the One Love song, what is that song? With the rapper, right?
One love. Oh, Nas?
No, I'm not sure.
Shout out to Illmatic. That's one.
But the other one is it's even on my, well, I won't say it here, but you two, one. You guys know that song?
One.
We're one, but we're not the same. We've got to carry each other. That's my favorite song of all time.
I wrote it down.
And
Susan always got some.
I'll give you the other
Songs,
one. It's the
yes.
old person that can't remember it, but it's the one, I can't change. You know that song? She goes,
Hang on, yeah, we'll pull it up right here. I have
is it
no idea.
Macklemore? Is that who it is? I don't know.
I'm not good with
I don't
this
know.
game.
But,
I'll be honest.
But the way he was really doing it, because that whole song is about acceptance and love and all of that. And it was actually timely when it came out. I don't know, in the last 20 years or something. I have no idea.
I remember that song. I was working at Best Buy.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep, I heard
He's
it.
kind of rapping, and then
All the
she
time.
sings in the background.
2010. Yep. Got it.
Well, you just had that vibe, and that's a powerful song because it's a song about it. Just really knowing the people around you, loving, accepting differences, and all of that. And that ties into really a lot of the things we do teach and talk about in Leadership Fredericksburg, like civility, one of my favorite pieces. You touched on teams, though. Let me jump over there. So you were both on different teams. So I want you to share about that process and also your experience working with your team, what that was like.
I'll kick it off.
Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
Yo, that team, I remember when we broke off into teams, I didn't know what to expect. But what was great, I know we all were different. We were picked for a reason, whether it was our right paths or your master science behind everything. But when we got in our teams, that's when I realized, like, you know what? I don't always have to be the top leader representing us. And in that, shout out my man, Paul Coville, he was the one that was meant to lead it. And he did it because he was so good at communication, at structuring, at keeping us organized. We're coming to his location and being that glue. So when we got into teams, immediately a light bulb went off, like, hey, because in my line of work, I'm used to doing everything myself. I came from a thing like, hey, you want it done right, you're going to do it. I think that's the entrepreneur in me. I don't know if David can relate.
It is. Yes.
It is. It's
Yes.
hard to let go of tasks because our reputation's at stake and a lot of things are at stake, right?
Yeah.
And at that, a light bulb went off during our team. So shout out to my team, Powerhouse Squad. That was our team name.
And what was your nonprofit you were connected with?
Oh yes, Servings of Hope. Shout out to Servings of
Yep,
Hope.
us too. Yep,
Yeah,
Servings
'cause
of
we
Hope.
had- oh yeah, because both of us. Yep.
Yep. So we had Servings of Hope, and then the Hungry Caterpillars was our name, and it was awesome.
That was a great piece.
And the one thing about breaking into teams is that it really does bring that leadership strength of whatever skill. There was those different skill categories, and everybody's personalities came out, and that was awesome to see that the data was true. And you can't hide it, like this is you, this is me. Yes, I'm a networker. Yes, that's me. Flying and flying out. So anyhow, but that was fun. I mean, everybody led where their strength was necessary, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I loved trying to make that community impact too, where we could, and I think that's what leaders can do very easily. When they start to put the process, if I want to make an impact on something, then I put my mind into it and we do it, and we focus on it. We tune it, we fine tune it, we present it. And so that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. The presentations was a lot of fun. I don't like that we lost, but that's okay. I'm still a little bitter about that.
We're salty still.
God,
We're still
bitter.
salty.
Bitter.
Just
What's
defeat.
going on here? But yeah, I think that's a well-rounding factor of the leadership is that after when you get done, you present, and that just shows exponentially what you are as a person, and it's great.
And one of the cool things when we put together those teams, we look at everybody's personality profile from the right path that we do.
There we go. There's the correct
right?
term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the right
okay.
path.
Hey, listen, I live in it every day. I don't expect you to carry it and know it all the time. But when we do that, we say, okay, here's the makeup of the class. So let's make sure we have a networker with an administrator, with a director, with an encourager. And so it gives you an opportunity to be focused on those personality types during that period of time, with the goal of, as you expand back out into the community, you start to recognize that even if the folks around you haven't taken a right path, you can sort of tell. You get the feeling like there's a sweet vibe on this person. They're probably a supporter, encourager, and you start to tread more gently in those areas because now you've spent 9 months talking about it, about when I've got that person in the room, or the one that just is never stopped talking, the networker, is to say, okay, how do I diffuse that? Because we're the same, whatever. But has that given you guys, have you had those moments where you've looked at the people around you and seen it differently now than it used to maybe feel like you were all just going like this?
Yeah, I do a lot of checking in with my team. So at Fraser Elements, I'm always asking, hey, how are you doing? What's life like outside of Fraser? I'm doing more checking in with them, making sure they're good on a out of the business perspective, and more about how are you personally. And that's been great. I didn't do enough of that before Leadership Fredericksburg, and so I really do feel like I do a check, once a week with each team member, making sure, hey, how was the weekend? Did you do what you wanted to do? And I encourage any team member, if they're not having a good day, it's okay. Go home. Take a break. That's fine. You need a mental day, do it. So we encourage mental days. We encourage, if you're not checked in at work, it's okay. Go woosah, or whatever you want to do. So yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
That's real. I'm glad. I admire that, David, because I know it's even mental health awareness, but what I love is that more people be more mindful of it. And instead of burning out, you're being the leader you are, hey, recharge. Yeah. I think I like that a lot. Susan, when you said that, I didn't realize I was classifying others by right paths. I was doing it subconsciously. I didn't think prior to this conversation, you bringing that up, I do notice my language, even whether I'm filming, whether I'm mentoring students who want to get in this field or whatnot, I do mirror a lot of my talk to fit them personally.
Yes.
Instead of just being on driver or all fire all the time. And I didn't realize I was doing it.
Look at that.
You broke
Look
it,
at that.
So you broke it down.
And that's
it's
called
happening.
That's called emotional intelligence, baby.
Emotional. AI can't teach that. That's emotional intelligence.
That's what it is.
Wow.
That's what it is. It really is. It's you feel the vibe around you. You see what's happening. You kind of contour to it, and you don't just push through as just the Jamie the director. Believe that was your profile, director.
You are correct.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
On point always.
She got it.
I try.
Yeah. Just natural. It's just natural, Susan.
It's just so natural now.
Yes.
Anyway, all right. So this is great. I love talking about the experience and so forth. There was a lot of stuff that we talked about, and it's not usually called stuff. It's content or leadership development. For some reason, I'm using words like stuff today.
It's okay. It's stuff.
But
Stuff.
so those are things like leading change, effective team building, crucial conversations, decision making. And as you saw when we were in class, there were some folks. I venture to say both of you are probably pretty quick on decisions, and you're right there in a class with some folks who are just paralyzed by moving that forward and understanding that. So what do you think were some of the topics or a topic that meant the most to you when you were in there?
Mine's kind of blended. I spoke on it a little bit earlier with the civility and having, because that was a big, I even remember where we had it. We was at Hildreth.
Yes.
But those conversations, like, it made me realize just because we can disagree, we can still agree in a sense, because the power of just not speaking from anything else, but the power of intent of just listening. And I feel that transitions over to what I got my two most was having those tough conversations. And I had to have a few tough conversations, even with someone that I love dearly who helped birth me, my father. And that's way beyond anything in my 35 years at that time that I knew had to happen. So those two alone allowed me to move gracefully when I had to have that conversation. And it wasn't from a place of trying to bring hurt or make anyone feel sad or anything. It's just simply what it was. And having a conversation. And today we have a good relationship and we talk a lot more often. And it's that heaviness gone. So like way beyond business, this is just personal, like almost therapy, almost real life. Like, wow, look what these two look at these two programs of the curriculum could do.
Yeah.
Powerful.
I think that's what the leadership does. It can actually bring you out a person that was there that you didn't know existed. And that's a great thing. It brought out with me just vulnerability, obviously, leadership skills, power of talk. Like if you can talk and just motivate people, that's a very important thing. And I felt that, that came out more with me doing leadership. Fredericksburg is that I became more of a stronger leader. I felt like I could motivate more, have an impact more than I've ever thought I could have. And it was a beautiful thing to one, bring out of me, but to acknowledge that, like, wow, I have something that I didn't even know that like was inside. And that's a great thing. It's a great feeling to be like, this will have an impact on me for many, many years and probably lasting, and I'm encouraged by that. So
that is awesome. Yeah.
It's just like, wow, Susan, I just had the reflection. Like you
had
like
an aha. Did you see
that moment?
That
he
was
having a moment.
Light bulb. Ding.
Yeah.
Bing.
Like, how you realize that? You're just one. I'm just one of our class.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 500 others who potentially had the same ahas and are like walking our region right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if you wander off the path, like let's say you start to venture as a business leader or as a person, look back, go back and reflect that year of personal building, your relationship, your leadership, go back to it, find it, and if you start leading off the path of, not focusing on yourself and your team and your people that support you so much in your everyday life, you can always rely on what the class did in 9 months, and the reflection should come back to you. So I think that's an important thing to note, that you can look back in time and say, all right, focus in on self again. So
that's great. Yeah. And Jamie, we were involved last year when we did the celebration event in October of 2024. Through the COVID years, we kind of got away from it. Previous years, off and on, we would have different offerings throughout the year that were Leadership Fredericksburg, like 2.0, where we would bring together alumni, and we'd invite in the rest of anybody else that wants to come, because you're going to see all these alumni like loving on each other, right? So we're doing that again this October.
All right.
So for anyone listening to this now, mid-year, go ahead and put that on your calendar for October 3rd.
Ooh.
I believe it's a Friday night. We'll be back at A&B Creative Events. Latasha
What up,
Brooks
Latasha?
plays.
Yeah.
Latasha.
And she's an alumni too. And so we were just talking in the past week getting that scheduled to start working on it. But for anybody that's hearing, that's going to be an opportunity just to bring everybody together and do a little reflecting and thinking to help keep that network together, because it's a really great point of if you start to stray and all that, we're still here.
Yeah.
It's come on back to the fold. And one of the ways that some stay really connected is through mentoring. So you both had a mentor. This is somebody that we assigned to you. Most of them are alum from Leadership Fredericksburg at this point, 18 years in. But they're assigned to you for the 9 months you're in the program, and then whatever you decide with your relationship to continue to stay in touch and so forth. Most, at least informally, stay in touch after. But okay, you had a mentor and you're serving as mentors.
Correct.
So
Yes.
let's hear from both of you about that on all aspects. What was it like to be mentored in the program, and then your decision to become a mentor and how that's going?
First of all, I say you're a genius again for how you pair up mentors to each other. Like, I didn't realize how deep rooted who you picked for me, how similar we were in things, and going through. Oftentimes, I remember just going every month, and oftentimes we would talk about Leadership Fredericksburg, but we would talk about just life and our past life and what we were doing at certain ages, and it was very fulfilling. So, like, if I felt that fulfillment and I'm invested with Leadership Fredericksburg after I graduated, I was like, I wonder if I can pass the torch and be of help to another attendee or someone going through LF, which I have, and you paired me with someone who's amazing. Shout out to Adam. And it's cool. Bridging gaps. That's one thing we talked about. Like, it's no longer like, oh, he's seasoned or he's a young professional. We're bridging gaps and having communication, and it's been very fulfilling and it's fun. He made me a Redskins fan, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was like, what team should I go down with? He was like, man, you got to go with JD5. I'm like, all right. And I was.
You didn't have an NFL team before that?
Nah. I
Because
mean,
you like that wrestling stuff, right?
I do love that wrestling stuff. So after the Cowboys, I remember growing up, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman.
There you go.
All right, I
Yes,
love
yes.
them. I mean,
Yeah, that was the
They were
squad. I had all their
icons.
jerseys.
Michael Irvin is just such a great. I mean,
Oh.
dude, I just love him.
Glad y'all feel what I was putting down. After that, I was like, man, whatever. I didn't really care for football. No
Well, they haven't won since then, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. They're still iconic.
I'm in the Patriots
you know?
desert right now. After 20 years of happiness. So don't start. Don't throw anything at me.
I won't. Not yet. Hey,
Shout out to
the
Tom
GOAT,
Brady.
man. Yeah, exactly. The GOAT. Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, I think, like, I got paired. I'm still talking to my mentor. We still talk. We still check in.
Good.
It's awesome. I feel honored to have him as like, I feel like, wow, like, this guy took his time. He's a very busy man. He took time out of his schedule to make me better, and that was important. And so it had such an impact that, I'm a lead. I have a mentee, and we're getting along great. He's busy as a one-arm paper hanger, but that's all right. But it had such an impact on my team as the Hungry Caterpillars. I think we have 5 right now. 5
That are mentoring?
Yeah. I think we have 5 out of 7 people have had an impact on the leadership and their impact relationship with their mentor, that they wanted to be mentors as well. And that was great. We all came to the introductional meeting, and we're like, you decided to, and then we're all blown away. So that was great that Leadership Fredericksburg had that kind of an impact on us, that we wanted to give back the following year to somebody in the community. And my relationship has been great. So it's been great. Awesome.
That is awesome to hear.
Talk about proof. I think it's like 9 of us from last class who are mentors this year, if I'm not mistaken. Can you check?
Yeah, I know.
check
Yeah.
this right
We
now?
need to check that.
I can check
Can
it.
we
Check
have? Can we have somebody check our stats?
I mean, I'll check the stat.
Yeah.
But that was awesome to see. We all came back and wanted to give back, and that's what we all said consistently: is give back, give back, give back.
It's super cool because when I put out the call for that every year after graduation, a lot of new folks that have just graduated do get excited. And one of the hardest things now, because we have such a great pool, so if a class is approximately 30 people, I'll have anywhere from 50 to 60 volunteers. You want that because you can really drill down and try to get those good matches, because you know a lot about the folks who've been through the program. And so you're looking at a new name and you're saying, how will these personalities and life experiences fit? At the same time, it's so hard to say, I didn't match you this time. It's not because you stink. It's because we really have a great pool because you're willing to at least raise your hand, you know? And so then we ask them, hey, will you stay on backup in case something happens? People move on. Sometimes they don't work out. We can pull you back in, or just stay in touch. If you're on backup, we'll keep, you know, letting
Trust
you know
me, the
what's
chamber
happening.
needs you. The chamber
We do.
needs all leaders and all, you know, people
do.
of any business position, you know, keep promoting partnerships. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that shout out. And
Not
I
a
know
problem.
both of you do a lot with the chamber, and we're lucky that our leadership program is connected and with the chamber. You know, we started it here in 2007. Sometimes when they grow, those kind of programs, they might migrate off onto their own. And it has stayed here with the chamber as our signature program. And I think it's a great synergy for our community, because it's awesome leaders like you guys that are out there every day. Not, you know, this is just a facet, one part of your lives. You're out there in different components in the community, and you're bringing that heart of everything that you've pulled together in your experience here out and making a difference out there. It's just so much awesomeness.
Love it. It's an honor. It really
It's
is.
an honor. That's why I wear this pen with a badge of honor. Like, sometimes I go way beyond this region. I go up north for projects or in Richmond, and they always ask, hey, what's that pin? And I was like, this is Leadership Fredericksburg. What's that? And it's a talking point, and I say it proudly, and I'm proud of it. I try to show it in every picture that
That's
I'm in
awesome.
with somebody. Yeah, so
Good job,
I
Jamie.
Really,
That's
pat on the back.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
supposed
pat
to
on the
say
back,
that,
right?
right? No,
Yeah, I'm
Class
like,
is supposed to
dude.
say that, but nah, it's I do wear it with a badge of honor.
Oh, it's great. Well, I just enjoy every time I get to see you guys, and everything when we connect and all the stuff we do in the community. As, we're already at about a half hour together.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
man, that's amazing.
Yeah, we'll have a little more chat and we'll start to wind down and everything. Is there anything special, different that's happening in your life right now, like something you're enjoying watching or listening to or doing in the community? Favorite shows
I'm
or
still,
books or?
I'm working on. I like interns, so I work with the UMW marketing interns.
University of Mary
University
Washington.
of Mary Washington.
Uh-huh.
Yep. What did I say?
Oh, no.
Okay.
What you said was
UMW.
great. If
Oh, you
somebody
just-
won't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
University of Mary Washington. And every year, every semester, I get to work with young students and get to work with them, and they get
That's
to work with me.
great.
And I say, hold on tight. It's a small business. You know, we're going to go and get to
Hold
throw.
on tight.
Hold on tight because we're going to go. And that's been a lot of fun. But we're also introducing for the summer. We're working with high school students. There's in Stafford. We're going to hire some students to work on. The wood shop and the laser CAD program that we have, and for the summertime, give them some experience, and that's been a lot of fun. And so we're trying to introduce that the community or schools are working on hands-on learning, and so I'm feeling good about that in the future.
I love that. And let me pause for a moment on that, because I didn't do it at the beginning to make sure our listeners here. Tell us a little more, and we'll do the same with you, Jamie, about Fraser Wood Elements, so people know what's your business and all that you bring these interns into.
Yeah. So we have a handcrafted generational furniture store in downtown Fredericksburg where we show our finished goods in downtown on Caroline Street. And then we have a wood shop located a half a mile where we mill, we produce, we run CNC machines, we do CAD drawings. We bring clients in and we show them our handcrafted skills. And we've been honored. We've been here for 11 years, May 16th. So looking forward to it.
It's really great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And how about you, Jamie? Tell us about Ignite Cinemas, and then anything that you just had time to reflect on that you want to share that's happening in your life.
Me and Fraser are on the same wavelength, because I'll talk about those externships and stuff I got going on. But yeah, it's been Ignite Cinemas, all about igniting the world. and using the power of video to tell stories to help brands and entrepreneurs and nonprofits drive results, spread awareness, tell their story, get more people involved. And that's been my saying since I started even coming around the chamber, and continues to do so. And speaking of that, though, those externships, those intern expos at the expo center, those have been mind
blowing.
Yes, because there's kids in there, and some parents sometimes even be like, "Oh, I thought I had to send my child to New York or Los Angeles to do this type of stuff." So when a young adult is coming to my booth, they're excited because they haven't seen nothing like this there. With that being said, it has been very fulfilling over the past year. He was externing with me at the Spazi Career Tech Center, and he is going to George Mason.
Nice.
And he is doing what he loves. He's been already hired to be a creative director, and I helped him like formulate his business because he was already capturing not marketing reels, but of players at Massaponics, like football players and basketball players.
Creating,
and I told him like, hey, just he was in his head.
He was already had it.
He had the eye.
He already had it.
He had it.
Way to bring it out.
He was in his head like, hey, parents aren't going to take me serious. I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
So I had him shift that, and he's making a great business.
Great job.
That. So like,
fantastic.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like Bridget, and I'm actually, after this, I'm going to the Career and Tech Center to onboard a young freshman. Because she's going to be externing
beautiful
over the summer.
I got a call yesterday from a UMW student that I hired in our wood shop, and he and I we built a great relationship, and we've stayed in touch since. And he called me yesterday, and he got promoted in the military, and he just wanted to call him and said, David, I just want to let you know, like, man, you were one of the guys that still has an impact, forever have an impact, and you that felt really great to get a phone call from that gentleman and say, dude, I appreciate your relationship. And I would have never thought that. Would have never thought I would have had that kind of an impact. And, man, that was great. Get a call. He's now been promoted in the United States Marine Corps and serving our great country. And get a phone call like that was such an honor. Such an honor. So,
so little things.
Little things.
You never know. You never know what little things that we call little could be the biggest thing for somebody.
Right. And so I commend anybody, I'm a small business. If you have any time or anything, give a young child a young adult the opportunity just to have a little taste of what they may be looking in a career. You make a little time if you can. So
let's co-sign that.
Yeah, cool. So anyhow,
but
the chamber brought it out. I'll be honest, the chamber brought out the internship, so that's why I'm talking about it, because I didn't know much about it, and I'm all about it.
So we just blended programs
for
sorry. No, sorry. For any of our listeners. So they kind of shifted over to some of the programming work that the Chamber also does with our workforce now, which is a lot of work on connecting students in the business community to jobs and opportunities for tomorrow. So shaping that workforce is critical, and it's how we'll be successful into the future, right?
Yep.
So it's all these pieces. So it's the leadership building blocks, and you guys have it. I'm so proud of you. You're both awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Susan.
Absolutely awesome. Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
I would say this because this is what I'm currently doing right now, and I would say Leadership Fredericksburg was the driving force behind it. But in learning vulnerability at the scale that we learn and how powerful and impactful it is as a leader, I currently am promoting a channel called Ignite Your Sobriety. And
nice.
It's being bold. I'm putting myself in a way that I've grown past, which is great, but also I'm helping others around who are men who maybe want to, hey, what would this be if I stopped drinking beer? So I've been pouring a lot of my time and communication into that platform. So I shout out you guys because it gave me the confidence to show up that way and do it at a scale where, you know what, I'm going to do it boldly. I'm going to do it vulnerable, but I'm going to hopefully reach one to teach one. And that's been fun. So shout out to
awesome
Leadership Fraser.
Congratulations, Jamie. That's awesome. Good deal.
Good deal.
Positive impact, right?
That's it. That's what it's all about, man.
Yes, sir. So yeah, no, Susan, thank you for having us today. It means a lot, to sit here with you and Jamie and have a wonderful conversation. And man, time flew by. It was great. So thank you.
You're welcome. I love seeing both of you. You are no strangers to my world. I see you all the time at different activities with the chamber, or sometimes others out in the community.
Right.
So thank you both for everything that you do. And hey, we could make this an annual thing and sit down and check
Perfect.
in and see see where we are.
Signed
right.
me up yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, again, thank you to our listeners for spending time with us today. Our guests are 2 graduates of Leadership Fredericksburg 2024. Jaime Garza, who was is the class president of Leadership.
He's got the belt to prove it.
Yeah,
Look
he's
at
got
that
the
bad
belt. That's just Jamie. Owner of Ignite Cinemas, and also from the class of 2024, we have David Fraser, who's our recent graduation keynote speaker, and the owner of Fraser Wood Elements. These are 2 terrific leaders in the Fredericksburg, Virginia region, very active in the Regional Chamber of Commerce, and just great people. So thanks for being with us, and we look forward to seeing many more conversations in the future.
Awesome.
Thank you.